Hi, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Boss Talk. I'm the host, Beverly Brister of Boss Talk. Can't speak right now. And I'm the boss of Beverly's Web Shop. So I have a wonderful, wonderful guest here tonight, Doreen Ellis. I will bring her on in just a moment. So let's get ready. Welcome, everyone, and thank you all for tuning in to another edition of Boss Talk. Again, I'm Beverly Brister, the host of Boss Talk and the owner of Beverly's Web Shop. And I'm so glad that you all are tuning in. Please shout us out and let us know where you're joining us from. I'm live right now on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So please just come on in and shout us out, and we'll be happy to see you, and we'll have a good conversation. Let me tell you about my guest here tonight. You will love this interview, hopefully. Her name's Doreen Ellis. She's a lifestyle writer, editor, and life coach with over 25 years corporate experience. But her purpose is to help other women live their life on purpose. She's turned it into a whole trailblazing journey and helps women reach their fullest potential. Her motto is, if you can see it, you can achieve it. And soon she'll add author to her title with her book that's coming out called Pearls to Purpose, a 90-day women's guide to self-discovery. So welcome, my guest, Doreen Ellis.
Hello.
Hi there. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being a guest tonight. I appreciate you coming on, and I tell you, your book is so dynamic, and people are in for a treat. They're just going to have to pre this.
Thank
So
you
thank
so
you,
much. Thank you for having me.
thank you. So let's get to chatting a little bit. During your 25-year tenure in corporate, when did you start to realize that that wasn't exactly your destination, your destiny?
I have to say that you have seasons of not you know you're not in the right place. So I think incrementally throughout my journey in corporate America, I've always felt like, okay, there's something else I should be doing. So I would move on thinking that would be okay, just move on to another position.
Mm,
But I would say the point where I came to knowing that I'm not supposed to be there anymore is when my father got ill
mm,
in 2018. Around that time, I got a call and they said that he wasn't doing well,
mm,
and it really changed everything in my life. It altered everything. I did not think that I would be caring for my father at such a young age because he had just turned 70,
mm,
and
mhm.
my daughter at the time was 4, and of course, trying to be a wife, trying to work, trying to do all the things that I was doing. I was burning like both ends of the candle, and
I
I knew
understand
that I
that.
needed to do something. I needed to
Right,
do something
right.
different. So he really, I think my father, in so many ways, he's always been one of the best teachers, in so many ways in my life, and he's made a major impact in my life.
Mm,
But I believe even in his illness and even during his time of declining, it caused me to look at life differently. It
mm,
caused me to have a different perspective on life. What
yeah,
does my dash look like?
right.
What will they say? What is going to, what will I leave? What is my legacy? So
Mm,
it really made me put things in perspective, and I just didn't, like the job was, it was frustrating, but it was stuff that I normally would deal with, and I just got through it. But I believe that the pivotal point for me was when my father got ill, and I really put things in perspective, and I began to think, okay, Doreen, what does the rest of your life look like? Because you're
mm,
about to be 50 in a second.
right.
And what do you want to do? Do you do you want to live a fulfilled life, accomplishing what you're supposed to do here on earth.
Right.
So that really is what did it for me. And yeah, I have to say that it was my father that really,
Mm.
made me really consider um, that the change in my life. But it's interesting because during the time that he was ill, I I didn't even know. I was frustrated on the job, but that I'm going to work one day, and I'm on my way to work, and I was listening to a sermon on the way to work, and I believe in part of the sermon it said something about surrendering.
Mm.
So a song came to mind, and I remember it was a John P. Key song, and it was "I Shall Do." And the lyrics of the song says, "Wherever you want me to go, whatever you want me to do, I shall do just what you say."
Mm.
And I remember driving into that parking lot, and we had underground parking. So I parked the car, and I listened to the song all the way through. And by the time that I finished listening to the song, I tell you, the floodgates just begin. I mean, I begin to cry, and all I know is I remember saying, "Lord, I surrender." And
Mm.
when I said that, it was just like he, I could hear him saying, "I was waiting for you."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my
Ooh.
pivotal moment.
Ooh. And did you turn in your resignation that day?
No, not quite. I remember going into the office, and I had to get myself together because I mean, by this time my eyes are bloodshot red. My father was still, he was ill at this time. And I remember I said, "Well, I have to get it together because they're going to think something that has happened to my father."
Mm.
And when I got myself together, I walked into the office, and I just knew for me, on the outside, everything was the same, but on the inside, everything had changed.
Mm. 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 Mm.
And then, like maybe a couple of weeks later, they offered a package. I wouldn't even know to pray a prayer. I didn't even know. I'm just like, a package? Like, and I can, at that time, I only had like 11 years with that particular company.
Mm.
25 years of corporate altogether, but 11 years on this particular job. And I
Mm.
was just like, "Lord, what's the deal?" Like, I mean, I know that there's something more. I know
Yeah.
that there's something else that I need to be doing. I just don't know what it is. And when my girlfriend told me about the package, I was just like, "Oh my goodness." I said, "This may be my ticket."
Right.
And it was interesting because I never would have even considered that if I had not had this, like there was a series of things that happened in my life, and it
Right.
really I began to look at things differently.
Mm.
And now I'm just like, I can do this, and I
Yeah.
did it. I'm
I
so
love.
glad I did.
Yeah, yeah. It's just amazing that because I'm a woman of faith myself, and just watching how God moves in mysterious ways and just
Oh
puts
yes,
the blocks in order
oh
for you that you could not have ever orchestrated at all. It's just
right,
like, all
yes,
right, Lord. Well, it's like just step, take that step, and there's going to be something there for you to step on. Just trust Him and just
absolutely,
believe.
absolutely, and
Yeah.
it's been that way for me since that time, and
Mm.
I never look back.
Wow, that's awesome. And is that when your journey of self-discovery began as well?
it it actually began a little bit before then. I remember at the time we were doing renovations on our job, and they told us that we had to vacate, the area that we were in. So that afforded me to be home, working from home a couple of days. And
Hmm.
I remember one morning I was, doing my regular devotion time, and but this particular morning it was different. So after I finished um, praying and doing my devotion, I remember just a calmness that I cannot explain. And my
Peace
mind,
that surpasses all understanding.
I had never experienced that in my life. So I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. And it was almost like it was it's supposed to be normal, but it wasn't normal for me because my mind is always racing. I'm always thinking about the next thing that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it was completely nothing coming through. Like, I was just like, is this possible? And I remember saying, I really, I really didn't even want to leave the spot that I was in because it was so calm.
Mm.
Like, we can really be in this place. And he's like, yeah, like, yes, come unto me, all your labor and all that are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And I tell you, I was like, I said, I want to experience that all the time.
Right,
Of course
right,
you can't,
right.
but yeah, that was my pivotal moment, and I was
Wow.
just, and it was such an awakening, and it was like I was so aware of everything that was going on around me, different things that I would, that he began to speak to me about,
Mm-hmm.
because my mind was clear and I was able to receive. Because a lot of times, we have so many things going on in our heads and our
Yeah.
minds, and
Yeah.
we're thinking about all the things that we have to do and we should do, and all those, inundated with stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's no room for him to really come in to say anything to us. So yeah,
Right.
so to be in that place, to be able to find that calmness, it was like life changing for me.
Wow. Wow. For anyone that's just joining us, I'm talking with Doreen Ellis. She is a lifestyle writer, editor, and life coach, and soon to be author of the book Pearls to Purpose, a 90-day women's guide to self discovery. And this will be on our feed, so you can check the replay if you missed any part of it. But please let us know where you're watching us from. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, I will be able to see your comments come through. Just shout us out, say hello. We'd love to hear from you. And even if you have any questions, and hopefully this is being a blessing and helping someone out. And, we're here. We're talking to a boss right now. So just sharing so much about your journey in this, in writing,
Yeah.
moving towards writing the book. What did you learn about yourself? Because I know there's so many lessons, that you can go through with anything that you do, especially, as God moves you through different situations. What did you learn about yourself during this process?
First of all, I learned that there is life outside of the corporate. I don't know what, I was just like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? But at that time, it was, like, I believe that there's no season that's wasted. Nothing is ever wasted. That God has a lesson in everything that we experience. But I was just like, wow, like, I could I could have experienced this peace like this,
Mm.
you know, um, just by saying I surrender. And I'm just like, wow, wow, So
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of the first lessons that I learned. I've also learned that I'm not in control. As much as I thought I was, I
Yeah.
was just like, okay, I'm on this job and I gotta make I gotta make money, and I gotta, make ends meet and all these other things. And God is just like, I'm your provider. I am, like, I'm in control, and I'm just like, I'm not even getting it. Even when the first year that I was home from taking the leave, right? I'm home and I have the package. I'm, walking and doing different things that I was doing. And my plan was to, I was going to take at least a year off to just get myself together, get my mind right. And then I was going back into corporate America. That's what I thought. I was just like, so I told my managers, they were like, well, what can we do for you? And I was just like, just get your a reference ready for me. So when I'm
Right.
because they didn't believe it. They were like, Doreen, you're gonna you're gonna just take off and do nothing. I'm like, yeah, for a while. So they were like, I don't believe you. Because everyone knew that I was always a go getter. I was always one that was doing things. And I was just like, no, I just want to take this S off my chest and take this cape off my back and relax. And so that was, it was wonderful. And here it
Mm,
is. I'm walking. I'm able to have time with God, and it was
mm,
amazing. So 2019 hits August, I believe 20 August of 2019. I'm walking, and I hear the Lord speak to me about 2020. I'm
mm.
like, Lord, it's August. I'm like, we have a whole summer. We still got part of the summer to go through or whatever. Why are you talking to me about 2020? And he says, Doreen, it's imperative that my people come into alignment before the new year. And I was just like, okay. So he was just like, no, you need to come into alignment because next year is 2020. So I'm like, okay, 2020 vision. Everybody gets it, right? So I'm just like, I get it. But I didn't want it to be just like a little cliche type of thing. But
Right.
he really, I was just like, all right, 2020. So I'm walking, but he spoke so audibly that I took out my phone and I typed it in my phone. And
Mm,
that particular day, my husband, he's a preacher, and he was speaking that day. He was teaching Bible study. And I had spoken to him, but usually when I get downloads like that from God, I will share it with him. But he
mhm.
was really stressed out or whatever, and was focusing on his message. So I said, I won't bother him. That particular night, I said, well, we're going to come and support you as a family and come and hear you preach. So he goes out, and we meet him at the church, and he preaches a message on the blind man. I was just like, all right, vision, seeing clearly, and he's talking about the blind man. Right? And I'm just like, okay. And
Right.
basically, what he was talking about, the guy wasn't able to see, and then Jesus anointed his eyes, and he said,
Yep. Hmm.
now, and he was like, well, I see men as trees, and he was just like, okay. And so God touches him again. So the fact that he was able to see trees means that he was able to see at some point in his life.
Right.
So and I relate that to us spiritually. Like sometimes we can't see the forest from the trees because we're in so many different things, and it's just like, and we're so overwhelmed, and our minds are just going a mile a minute that we can't see clearly. So
Mm,
he was right when he said that. And so now fast forward 2019, I mean 2020 comes, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to start looking for a position. And I go, but I'm going to do it after I go on vacation, right? So I knew
you,
that
you
I
just you telling God your plan, how you're gonna just
right.
work this
So I
out.
said, I'll start.
You know?
I'll start working on it as soon as I get back from the Dreamers Academy because my husband speaks there each year. So
Hmm.
we're there, and we're enjoying running up the family, and they began to shut everything down. That's when the pandemic came. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking that when I get back home, I'm going to take my daughter to school, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to start looking for this new opportunity. You know, yeah, no.
Yep.
So I'm just like, okay, all right. So what's the plan now? He was like, homeschool. So here I am. I'm homeschooling my 5 year old, and she's in kindergarten, and we're going through it. But the interesting thing was, I liked it. I was just like, I'm learning things from her kindergarten class. So the teachers was bringing home, they were sending her work through the computer,
Mm.
but we would go over the different things together, and it was almost like, wow, Lord, you taking me back to kindergarten, and I'm learning all over again. But it was
Hmm.
a wonderful thing because as you teach, you learn, and so we'll, so that, fast forward that or whatever, we talk about coaching and all the
Yeah.
other things
Yeah.
like that. But I'm just like, wow. And I ended up homeschooling her the next school year. So first
Mhm.
grade, full first grade, I homeschooled my daughter,
Wow.
and it was amazing. But you couldn't have told me that I would have been packaged
Yeah,
from my
see,
job and
had
that I
he
was going to be
told you
graduating
that,
to a full time kindergarten teacher.
yeah, had he told you, he would have said, "Now, Lord, no, this is going to be the plan, okay? We're not doing that. I'm not
Absolutely.
doing that. Not going down that way." So, yeah, brought a sneak attack on all of us.
Oh, yes. And I said, wait a minute. Okay. I'm like, now I don't have my time by myself. I'm just like, wait a minute. Everybody home all the time? Like, wait a minute.
Right.
This is not what I pictured.
Even my dog had to get used to it. My dog, who's like my shadow, like, I mean, literally wraps around my feet just going into
Yes.
the kitchen. He was even like, "You still home?" So I
Yes. So
get it.
so now I realize that during God didn't take you off the job
Right.
for you to go back into that same, back to that rat race you were doing.
Right.
He's calling you, and he was teaching me and equipping me through kindergarten lessons and first grade. I'm just like, okay, God, I hear you. So there were
Hmm.
times that my daughter, she will be working on science or she'll be working on something. I'm just like,
Hmm.
oh, baby, just wait 1 second. The Lord is speaking. She's like, wait a minute, like what? Like what are you getting? I'm just like, I'm getting the download. First grade class. So yeah, it was really, really, and it was very interesting that God was preparing me for my next,
Yes.
but I had no idea. So we talk about connecting the dots. We always, you have to look back to even connect the dots. And I saw that he was preparing me for, and I knew that I'm always been a forerunner. I've always been a trailblazer. I've always been the one to say, why, like if somebody say we can't do this, I'm like, why can't we do that? I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
it's possible, like
Right.
all things are possible. And so I remember, saying, wow, Lord, I believe that you're preparing me because
Yeah.
of, for corporate, and things like, but I had no idea that people were going to be out of work and they were going to be out of work for this long.
Right. Right.
I said, okay. So he was preparing me
Hmm.
um, to be able to have those conversations with people that found themselves like now, dealing with mental, you know,
Right.
you know, instability and
Right.
just depression, and then people were just dropping like flies, So it was just, it was an amazing time, and I'm just
Mm.
like, wow, you were equipping me for
Yeah.
this time so that I can be able to persevere and move, and move forward, even in the midst of all of the things that were going on around us.
Yeah, yeah, that is amazing. Like just how he just worked all of that out. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to jump into the book a little bit. It is very spiritual and full of wisdom, which I absolutely love. Love the book.
Thank you.
Um, how does it connect with women who may not have a belief in God or a higher power? How can it connect to them?
Hmm. Well, I have to say that, everybody have their own journey. Um,
Hmm.
I would say that this book may not be for them right now.
Okay.
This book, I believe Maya Angelou had a saying that says, when the student is ready to teach, will teach. And I believe that it is so true when it comes to, anything was, it's, teaching someone about, or sharing your faith, or,
Hmm.
you know, um, taking on a new assignment, doing different things that you're not used to doing.
Hmm.
So I would, but I had to talk about my experience. And my experience, I believe that, there is an there are people that need to know, and there are people that I believe that I am called to share this message with, that
Mm-hmm.
it will cause them to look at things differently, to look at, and to lean more into God and less on ourselves. Because I don't know if there's anybody out there that's listening, Doreen, I'm like, I have to admit, I was a control freak. I thought I was in control. And it was just like, Doreen, listen, hands off. You're going to have to trust me. You're going to have to trust me during this time. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing for me was my finances. I
Mm.
believe that was the biggest hurdle for me. I'm just like, I'm so used to being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And now it's like, okay, limited income. So how are we going to do this, Lord? The account is getting low.
Right.
It never failed. Every time that I was at my wits' end trying to figure out how he was going to make it work, he made it work.
Made it work. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, yeah, you just say, you will supply all my needs.
Right. Right.
And that's the thing, and that's why I wanted to, and I intentionally put a lot of scripture in there, because
Yes.
I believe even as believers,
Mm-hmm.
we quote a lot of scripture, but when it comes to different parts, like when we go through certain circumstances, it's
Uh-huh.
just like you have spiritual, and you just like, it's like, you know, I know that scripture, but like,
No,
and it's
it's
like,
like that scripture's for them, not for me. That's for them. Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
So there was a lot of times that, even as I was writing the book, I'm just like, wow, God, yeah, you said that, and yes, and that's what you're doing.
Right.
But again, it comes, we have to get out our own way and allow him to have his way in our lives.
Right. Right. I love there's so many points and so many pearls in the book. One of the ones that I think is a great aha moment was pearl number 8. You talk about um, you are predestined.
Oh, yes.
Right.
I believe that everything, God is so intentional. And even on my nature walks, I just look and I'm just like in awe of all of the things that he's created. I was sitting in my back patio one summer, and I was just looking at just nature, just looking at squirrels running around the tree and different things like that. But I'm just like,
Mhm.
everything has a purpose.
Mm.
Everything that he created, he created it with something in mind. So the tree, for instance. So I'm looking at the tree, and the tree, we have the birds on the tree, we have the squirrels turning around, running around the trunk of the tree. You know, the tree provides shade for us.
Mhm.
So all of these different things, and God is just like, just and all the tree do is just stay there. It's just there.
Mm.
And I believe that, we're predestined. God created us, and he has a particular purpose in mind for us. He created us, and he had, and we're all uniquely designed the way he intended us, and intended for us to fulfill our purpose.
Mm.
And so you never will see a tree trying to act like it's like a flower, or it's trying to be something that it's not.
Right.
And yeah, so I have a passion for people really coming to know what they're destined, what not even what they're destined to be, who they are. Let's
Mm.
start there. I'm just like, I
Right.
want people to know who they are, and why they're here, and what they're created, and what God created them to do.
Mm.
So that's what got me on this whole journey of self discovery.
Okay. Okay. Another one that I like is I think it's number 10, um, divine mindset.
Hmm.
Can you please elaborate on that?
Oh, the divine mindset. I believe, like when I was telling you before, we have to get out of our own way. And I
Hmm.
believe, our minds are running a mile a minute. And if we ever took the time to really be still, we can really allow, we can really allow ourselves to get to the place where we're open to
Mm.
whatever it is that he wants to do or what he wants to say to, whether he wants to say something or whether he wants to do something in, through us.
Mm.
And, so that whole divine mindset, being transformed by the renewing of your mind, which we have to do. Not only do I have to do it daily, sometimes I got to do it on an hourly basis, So there are so many things that is tugging for our attention or trying to distract us or trying to get us off course. And we have to have the right mindset.
Right. Right.
Have to, and that only comes through us sitting down and getting and allowing ourselves to be still enough to allow whatever, those roaming thoughts may be, let them
Mm-hmm.
just pass through,
Mm.
and then allow ourselves to be at peace.
Okay. All right. For anyone who's just joining us, I'm talking with Doreen Ellis. She is a lifestyle writer, editor, life coach, and author of the book Pearls to Purpose. I'll put it on the screen here. Pearls to Purpose, a 90-day women's guide to self-discovery. And if you missed any part of it, it'll be in the streams. You can go back and catch the replay. And there's another one that I like a lot. I think it's number 14, self-discovery, because it's like allow you give permission to the reader to be childlike without being childish.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please elaborate on that?
Yeah, so it's interesting because of course in that particular one, I talk about how kids are so inquisitive and
Mm-hmm.
kids don't really have fear. Fear is something that we teach children, because
Mm-hmm.
the child doesn't know, okay, that stove is hot. Don't touch that stove,
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
it's not until we say it in that tone that it's like, okay, I shouldn't be doing that. And there are different things that my daughter does now, and I'm just like, I don't know where she got that from because she didn't get that from me. Like she loves going to the she loves going to the dentist. She loves going to get needles. I'm just like, who
Mm.
does that? Like she does, and I
Mm.
don't want to put that fear in her, because obviously it's not something that she fears.
Right.
It's something that I fear on the inside, but I don't want to impose my fears on her, on my
Mm-hmm.
beliefs or those type of things on her. And she's not afraid of heights. She wants to go on, I'm just like I'm not getting on that roller coaster. To get on that roller coaster because I'm not getting on. But again, what children learn, they learn by playing, and
Yeah.
so that's why, like in kindergarten, pre-K, and different things like that, they are either they're doing nursery rhymes, they're doing different things that are repetitive, that's repetitious, and then they do, a lot of they do a lot of playing.
Mm-hmm.
They're learning while they're playing, but they're
Right.
for the most part, it's fun play. And I believe that we as adults need to learn how to play,
Mm-hmm.
and to really relax and not take everything in. We forget all of those things. And it's interesting because I had this my husband, when I did take the package on the job, he
Mm-hmm.
he gifted me a gift certificate to a strategist coach, a career strategist coach. So
Okay.
one of the things that she asked me, what did I like to do as a child?
Hmm.
And I was just like, hmm. And as a child, I loved to teach. I love, like marketing was my thing. Like I can sell anything. Like I would sell lemonade. I had like chips. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're gonna have, this sale, and it's a hot summer day. We're gonna have lemonade, and we're gonna position it right in front of the house. So we
Mm-hmm.
started in front of the house. Then I was just like, wait a minute, we're missing the people that are going to the corner store, the corner. You remember Leland?
Right. Yep. That,
Okay, so we're gonna move our, instead of having it in front of the house where, maybe some people, we may miss people, we're gonna
mhm.
put it on the corner so that we can see the people as they, and we can cut them off before they get to the store. So my mind was always thinking, like, again, like I was all
Yeah.
about, I gotta make money, I gotta,
Right. Yep.
so yeah, so and I'm like, wow, I never even put the two and two together. But those things, even as a child,
Mhm.
God, that seed was planted in us,
Right.
and
Right.
it, and now it's growing and it's, we're developing and now we're doing different things. But that the core of who we are never changes.
Mm, mm. Wow, that's deep. Boss tips right there. So, it- there's how did we put it all together? You know, how now that we have, and I know there's more pearls because I don't want to give it away. I want people to check out the book. How do we put it all together? Like, is that where your life coaching begins, and you help them to realize this journey along with the book?
Yes, it begins with losing control. It's about surrendering and allowing the one that has created you to
Mm,
be able to now, you begin to see what the purpose was for you to be here in the first place, and what are you supposed to be doing.
mm,
A lot of times we're unfulfilled, but we're unfulfilled because we're doing things that like either the time is up, or
mm-hmm,
or it was just never, that was not in his plan.
mm,
So, we sometimes put ourselves in some of these positions, and other times, it's just like, okay, that season is up, but we stayed there longer than we're supposed to be there. So
mm.
I see myself as the guide. I see
Okay.
myself as the one that's showing people, like, you know, okay, yeah, I know you don't know what you're supposed to be doing right now. I was there. And, and there are times when you still don't know. We don't know everything, but that's where the coaching comes in. And
Mm,
I have to say, I had a group of people that was around me. When I remember when I had, I knew I was supposed to do something, but I just didn't know what it was.
mm.
And I had this one lady that I really admire. She says, Doreen, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to write. She was like, okay. And I'm just like, okay, what? so yeah, she says, well, begin to write. So I'm just like, okay, that simple, because we think things are supposed to be so complex.
Right,
So
right.
the interesting thing was, as I began to write, I was just like, okay, all right. And they said, just keep writing. And I'm just,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
okay, I hear you saying that, but there got to be more to this story about just writing. So I was actually on my way to retreat. So after I had taken the package, that 20 and 20 March 2019,
Mm-hmm.
I got that on October 2019. I went to a women's retreat, and it was time for me to actually get my passport renewed before I went on this retreat, because the retreat was in Cancun.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to fill out the application, I was just like, okay, well, what do I put? Because I'm not working at this time. So I think it was a test from God. He was like, all right, so what are you gonna put on there as, what you do? So I was like, okay, well, I'm a freelance writer, right? So I wrote down I'm a freelance writer for, my occupation on passport, not realizing that when I got there, and even in the midst of all of the things that was going on in my life during this time that I took the package, God began to surround me with other coaches, and we're just like, okay, strategic coach, career coach life coach this. I'm like, well, my God, how many coaches do I need, right? But it was just interesting because what happens when we put ourselves in a position where we're open, God begins to show you, what your next step is. Now, all these things are going on, and I'm like, these people are speaking my language. I don't know this language. I know this is something, I haven't, embarked upon before. But
Right.
now that I'm aware, because,
Mhm.
I'm in a mental place where I can hear from him, he begins to now show me, and that's the thing. God never gives us anything before it's time. So
Mhm.
we can go around the mountain 40 days, but it really, it really comes down to he's not going to give you anything that he doesn't feel like you're ready,
Right. Right.
for.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I'm here and I'm ready, and now I'm out here and I'm a freelance writer out in Cancun, and they were asking, I said, so what I said, so I need to get my pitch together, because when people ask me what am I doing or what do I do, what am I going to say?
Right.
So yeah, I remember it was so funny because of course the opportunity came for me to practice, and they said, "What do you do?" And I was just like, "I'm a freelance writer."
Right.
It was just like, "Oh, really? Okay." So I said yes. I just took the leap from corporate America. So I'm telling my story. Long
Mhm.
story short, I go on this women's retreat, and I meet the CEO of the company, and she, so I'm just like, okay, love this retreat, loved everything about it, loved the people, everything. So I went home and I said, well, this is no time, no better time but to write about this retreat. So
Right.
I began to write about the retreat. And to my surprise, I said, well, I'm going to, after I finish writing this about the retreat, I'm going to write about the actual resort that we stayed at, because that
Mhm.
was really the thing. I really went to write about the venue,
Mhm.
because I really thought, again, me thinking that I was going to do freelance writing
Right.
for, it was luxury travel, um, wellness, and fine dining. That was supposed to be my niche. Like that was what I was, that's what I thought I wanted to do. And that's what I thought I was going to do. And I was like, yeah, no, right. Or at least not right now. So I said, okay, but now I'm really getting thrust into this writing thing, and I really like it.
Yeah.
So when I wrote this, when I wrote the retreat, about the retreat, I posted it on LinkedIn, and I remember getting a response from the lady that ran the retreat, and she was just like, "I loved your article about the." I was just like, "Really?" Like, I love your article about, it was just like, oh my goodness, can I share this on my page? Absolutely. Right? I was like, no problem. So, didn't think anything of it, other than I'm just like, well, praise God, like it blessed some, hopefully it'll bless somebody or whatever, because it was really a wonderful retreat. And I really
Right.
don't like to write about anything that I don't like. So I said the pleasure was mine. So later on that evening, she must have looked at my LinkedIn profile, and she
Mhm.
saw that I was a freelance writer because I had put it on
Right. Right.
on LinkedIn. So she was like, I didn't know that you were a freelance writer. I was just like, yes, she says, how would you like to write, for our newsletter?
Wow.
I'm just like, Lord, that I said, now see, I said, you're gonna stop playing. And as a result of me stepping out and saying that I'm a freelance writer, we can
Mhm.
have what we say. So I talk about all of those things in the book,
Right.
having the right mind, like, you know, being able like to say that you are well. Like I talk about in that whole mindset piece where the guy's at the pool of Bethesda,
Mhm.
and he's just like, and Jesus asked him, "Do you want to be made well?" And
Mhm.
he began to talk about all of the different things that will prevent him from being well. And
Mhm.
I didn't ask you that, So a lot
Right.
of times we talk ourselves out of stuff
Yeah.
And
Me
God is
too.
like, just speak it. So, and I'm not saying that it's that easy. It's not. But
Right.
God began to unfold something that I had not even, like I always said that I wanted to write.
Hmm.
Now I have the time to write. So I
Hmm.
began to write articles for, it's called the I Am That Woman retreat and
Ooh.
movement. And then that's when the COVID, the pandemic began. And she was just like, do you have a story? I'm just like, let me just let me have a divine mindset first because I'm not just saying just anything on my mind, right? So
Yeah.
I said, well, let me pray about it and then I'll get back to you. So
Mm.
I remember praying about it, and I believe, I felt the release that God wanted me to share something in regards to the pandemic, and it was so interesting, like even before that, the 2020,
Hmm.
my article for her newsletter was 2020, a look from God's perspective, a fresh look from God's perspective. I had
Wow.
no idea. Now
Wow.
I'm just like, so I began to see that God was working through my writing. So
Hmm.
I began
Hmm.
to write more, and it caused me to write more. And here we go with a book, so yeah, yeah. So I had no, I mean, I've always knew that I had a book in me, but now he's giving me books. Like this book is, on the, I have so many other book ideas that he has given me at this particular time, and I'm just like, okay, can I just finish this book first before I get
He
another one? And
gave you a whole series.
he has, and I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I mean when we talk about leaning in and
Yeah.
not being in control and just allowing God to have His way. Because a lot of
Hmm.
times we want to know the detail, and that was me. I'm like so analytical, and thinking, I have to have all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and He's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. We're
oh wait,
looking
wait,
for
wait.
perfection.
Okay with that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that I still got a long way to go, but I'm nowhere where I was before.
Okay. Now, what do you say to people who discount life coaching, or like they don't understand the value of life coaching? What do you say to them?
Life coaching was the best investment I've ever made. I'm
Mm.
sitting here right now. I just came out of an extensive um, program, and when I tell you the amount of things that I learned and glean from the coaches that were in this program. Give a
Mm.
shout out to any of my P2P sisters that might be listening, or may not be listening now, but listening later. Thank you for supporting me. And yeah, I'm just like, we we invest in everything else. Why not invest in ourselves?
Yeah. Yeah. That is amazing. Well, so many great nuggets in this book, and you have some people that's chiming in. You have a
Hi,
Gloria
Sister
Ross.
Gloria. Hi, Sister Gloria.
And Minister Patricia Williams, I just want to, she was one of my bosses from the first
Hi.
season. She is the owner of Crossroads of Life Inc. and Crossroads of Life Bookstore in Hillside. So
Yes.
she,
Is that
uh,
the one you had mentioned before? And you said, "Is this?" You, I remember you mentioned someone that had a bookstore, and they
yep, that's her.
Okay, yes,
That's her. So,
okay, yes,
Minister,
okay,
you may get a phone call or an email.
okay.
So, again, everyone, if you're just joining us, I am talking with Doreen Ellis. She is a lifestyle writer, a life coach, and author of the book Pearls to Purpose: A 90-Day Women's Guide to Self-Discovery. And I this has just been a powerful, powerful, just sharing of what's in this book. And this is just only a portion. I didn't even go through all the pearls. So please let everyone know where they can order the book and where they can find you online.
Okay, well, you can find me online. The best place for me is you can either do Casting Pearls Inc. That's a group that I have, or you can
The
find me
Facebook
on
group,
the
right?
Facebook group, and then also LinkedIn is where I normally go as well. So between the and that's Doreen Ellis. If you're looking at LinkedIn, and if you're looking
Okay.
for Facebook, you're looking at Casting Pearls Incorporated.
You're also on Instagram too, right?
Yes, I am. I'm very new to Instagram, and my handle there is I am Doreen Ellis.
Okay. All right. And uh, they can also get information on when your book is going to be released with your
Oh,
landing page. I'll put that up. It's a little bit of a longer link, but you can take a picture, screenshot it, or you can just catch the replay. And it is pearls to purpose.ck.page /378581596A. I'll leave that up there for a little bit, but you can connect with Doreen and find out when the book is dropping. And you can be one of the first to pre-order and to connect with her also on life coaching to get these pearls of wisdom. So Doreen, this has just been an amazing sharing. I love this book so much. And thank you for sharing it with us and with the audience, and just being a vessel that let God work through you to share your gift and your talent and being the boss that you are. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for being a guest.
thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. So, everyone, again, this is Doreen Ellis, and you can catch her on her Instagram. She's new to Instagram, but shout her out and connect with her. I am Doreen Ellis on Instagram. She has a Facebook group, Casting Pearls Inc., on Facebook. You can find out more information about her book on her landing page here at Pearls to Purpose. That's her landing page there. And I'll share the book cover again. It is Pearls to Purpose, a 90-day women's guide to self-discovery. So, Doreen, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for who watched tonight and who put in a comment and shared with us. And please share this. This will be available on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitter. So you feel free to share the link with anyone else that you feel can be touched and blessed by her book. So again, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone, and I will see you next time on Boss Talk.